So for the last 7 days, I've been waking up at 5:45 a.m., quickly making a coffee, and then in my PJs, stepping outside and painting the sunrise. I'm a full-time landscape painter, but painting outside has been something I wanted to do. I think it might have been back in 2023 or even 2022 where I tried filming a series where I was painting every day. And my first film I posted before I started consistently painting outside. It ended up not going anywhere because it was so much work to make that painting and then so much work to post that I couldn't find a rhythm in it. So for this time, I'm trying to do my consistent painting, film it, and then eventually post. So hopefully this works better. I've also recently moved, and my studio, which is just down here, needs electrical, it needs internet, it needs floors. It currently has slanted floors. I've hired a contractor to help me work on it. So in the meantime, I need to paint. So after painting for 7 days, I've noticed some things, and I thought I would share those learnings with you and hopefully inspire you as well to take on a creative project. So the first thing I've learned is to just go with it. Basically, when you come out and look at the sunrise, it is changing instantaneously. It is constantly changing. So what you see right now and what color you mix, when you look up again, it's gonna change again. So just go with it. And it actually has built some confidence in my painting because I have to remember the color I see and mix it and paint that color, even though it's changed. I have to be confident in my memory of what I saw and just go with it. And so I think the first 2 days I actually painted the exact sun coming through. And the moment the sun comes through, the whole contrast, the colors and the values of the scene change. So the first 2 days I painted the sun, but that made me have to make a lot of adjustments. So now I paint the moment before the sun comes through because the values and the saturations and the contrasts are still the same. It's also a lot more interesting, and it's like that moment before the sun comes and the sun takes all of the glory, whereas the moment before, the clouds are taking the glory. So I've been enjoying painting the moment before the sun now as opposed to the moment the sun comes out. So that's been a change that I've seen. But I've definitely realized that you lose the moment right away. Actually, today was a particularly good day for that because I had painted plein air during the day yesterday. So all my stuff was scattered in 3 locations, and I also needed lights because it was raining, so I had to come under this gazebo. While I was gathering my things, that was the peak moment of the sunrise, and I decided to paint that moment even though I wasn't painting during that moment, and my memory didn't serve me well enough to be able to paint it, or the colors I mixed I don't think were accurate. So regardless, the moment was gone. I tried to paint it. And I'm glad I had a moment to see that sunrise, but even photographing it wasn't enough, which leads me to my next point. The camera doesn't help. So while I'm painting, I'll take a photo of the sunrise because I think it'll help me while I'm painting because I'm documenting that moment. But then when I look at the screen and I look at the values and the saturations in real life, there's no similarities. And often the phone is wildly oversaturated, but it's missing the subtle colors that I see in real life. But what I have noticed is if I look at the photograph later when the sunrise is gone, my brain now remembers the sunrise like the photograph, if that makes sense. So I'm now trusting the photograph to actually have documented what I saw, when in reality, when I was in the moment and looked at the photo, looked at real life, there was no connection. It did not make sense. So painting the sunrise has the same challenge because the painting isn't the sunrise either. So the photograph is one interpretation and the painting is another interpretation. The whole thing is just trying to interpret what I'm seeing. So I'm becoming more interested in painting what I see rather than interpreting from the iPhone, which is another layer of translation on the image. So my next point number 3, is repetition makes the difficult mornings less difficult. So 5 of the 7 mornings have been fairly clear. And at first I thought that might be boring because it's just the plain sky and then a mountains, tree line and water, and then the sun comes up. And that has been fantastic because it has given me the habit of painting the gradient, and also the change happens much slower because it's not these shadows changing on a cloud. So therefore I can just practice painting a gradient and trusting my paint and learning to mix the simpler colors. So now when there's a cloud in there, I have a habit of mixing the gradient sky and now putting a cloud on top. So even though it's only been a few days, it feels less intimidating to paint a cloud on a gradient sky. But that said, and I'll show it right here, There was a morning before I started this project which had a spectacular sunrise, and I took a photo of it, and obviously the photo doesn't do it justice, and I was like, whoa, I should be waking up early in the morning to see if I could paint that. And I'm very glad I haven't seen that type of sunrise yet. But it's really fun now because each morning I wake up and the first thing I do is go look out the window to see what sunrise am I going to get, what clouds are out there. The sky is becoming less intimidating to paint now, especially after spending time doing the gradient skies. All right, my next point that I have here is I've learned when to stop. So my first 2 paintings, I mentioned this already, my first 2 paintings included the sun, and the next 5 did not. So once the sun comes out, everything changes. The contrast changes, the saturation changes. Basically the whole composition does, because now your focal point is the sun, whereas before the sun comes up, your focal point is the colors and the contrasts. And so rather than painting that one moment where the sun comes out, and that is a split second. So if I want to document that moment, I don't have much time to do it. But the moment before the sun comes up, now I can choose to emphasize the sky or the reflection or the colors, and I have more time to paint it. And it's actually more interesting a scene than when the sun comes out and blasts the whole view. So I'm not really painting the sunrise, I'm actually painting the transition before the sun comes out. And that's something I didn't think I would notice from painting the sunrise. And it took repetition to start to anticipate how is the sky going to change. So that's been a lot of fun too. So the next point is a pretty big one. Being organized matters more than expected. And it's a good reminder about my entire business that right now I have an IKEA bin of all my supplies. So that way when I wake up, I just take the whole bin outside, make my coffee and start painting. So on mornings where I've painted the day before, my gear seems to be a little more scattered. And in my head when I'm going to bed, I go, okay, I know my camera's down in this spot. I know this is over here. I know this is over here. But those mornings, that 2-3 minutes of remembering this and pulling it in, remembering this, pulling it in, it happened this morning specifically because it started raining and I needed to move everything over here under the gazebo, but then I needed lights, and then I realized my painting book was downstairs because I was painting on location yesterday. And by the time I gathered all my stuff and started mixing paint, it was at the peak of the sunrise and I missed it. So I missed documenting it because I was setting up while it was at the best part of the sunrise. So in hindsight, I wish I had all my stuff gathered together, and I thought I did, but it's those minutes that matter. And so just thinking of the rest of my practice, when at least now I don't have a dedicated studio, but prior to this, I would do things like when I was cleaning up, I would clean out my water dish and fill it with clean water and put it on the table. That way it was ready for my next painting. So when creativity hits, I'm already prepared to start painting. And next point I have is apparently my body likes routine. So the first couple days, it was hard to wake up with my alarm, but now I am noticing I'm waking like 20 minutes before my alarm, and I'll check the time and I'll realize I can snooze a little bit and then wake up. So it's gotten a lot easier to wake up at 5:45 a.m. And likewise, I noticed that I'm going to sleep a lot faster, which is fantastic because I've had some difficulty sleeping in the last few months. So my next point is probably the biggest thing I've been thinking about is it takes effort to make art. Lots of people tell me they wish they had more time to paint more, and it was a hobby that they loved and they struggle to find time to paint and they wish they could do it. And I totally understand. I am a full-time artist and I find it hard to find time to paint. Running a business, I need to answer emails. So for instance, this morning I haven't checked my emails in order for me to be able to talk to you like this and not be distracted by the emails in my inbox. There's always more I can do on my website. There's always more I can do on social media. There's always more emails I can answer. There's more finance things I can do. And so if I'm not feeling creative, I can hide in those tasks and it can snowball, and each day becomes like that, and suddenly you haven't painted in days, even though you're a full-time painter, or even though I'm a full-time painter. So having a practice where I don't do anything but paint first thing in the morning, I actually notice my morale is happier because I get to mix paint. And yesterday I did do a painting on location, and it was quite a complex scene, and having that muscle memory of doing this every morning helped significantly. So basically, painting doesn't magically happen. It's something I have to deliberately make room for. And that's why I've been trying to do this outdoor practice. I'm trying to make painting something I do consistently and not something when everything else is finished, because everything else will never be finished. All right, the next point is interesting. So for now, I don't want to make money with this project, which is tough to say because right now without a studio, I do feel anxiety that I should be painting more and I should be making more money. And even Brad's looked at these little sunrise paintings and said they look fantastic on a t-shirt, or he wants a t-shirt with one of them on. And my immediate reaction was no, not because they wouldn't look good on a t-shirt or I was willing to try, because I don't want to know yet. So I've done this before when I did my 10 by 12 panels. They were so easy and effortless, and I was experimenting and trying to figure out how I could paint on a flat surface and kind of make it archival, and birch panel worked really well for that. And then I had this idea that they were so easy that I could paint them once a week and then post them onto a newsletter, and now I have consistency. And to be honest, that became such a big project that it actually stifled the creativity. As soon as there's an expectation at the end of the project, it feels less playful at the beginning and experimental, and I take less risks with the paintbrush. And I notice a significant difference in my painting process if I know the outcome of the painting, whereas if I'm just, let's see if this works. And I notice that the same in my sunrise paintings. My favorite parts of the paintings I've done so far are little experiments of value or color that I tried that ended up working, but also my least favorite parts of some of the paintings are little experiments I tried and risks I took that didn't work out. So being able to play and not put a value on this, that this must become this, has helped me a lot in my practice. And now it's how can I bring that mindset, because at the end of the day, I will have projects that need to make money. So tomorrow I'll get up and paint again, and I'm interested in seeing what all the outcomes of this practice is. Hopefully it'll make me a better outdoor painter and be able to capture the idea that I have in my head when I see a view, being able to find the thing that speaks to me and put it into the painting. But I'm curious what you want to know about this practice, and please put it in the comments. I'm happy to continue this discussion if it's compelling. And tomorrow morning I'll see what the sky gives me.